I'm speaking to Dr. Betty Perkins Carpenter, president of Senior Fitness Productions. Dr. Carpenter has written several articles and books, including How to Prevent Falls, Better Balance, Independence, and Energy in 6 Simple Steps. Dr. Carpenter has a wealth of experience that led to the writing of How to Prevent Falls, including being the former diving coach in the 1976 Olympics. Dr. Perkins also formed the Perkins Swim Club Incorporated in Rochester, New York, and the well-known fitness program for preschoolers, Fit by 5. She's also been on the President's Council on Physical Fitness and Sports and was a speaker at the White House Conference on Aging. Dr. Carpenter, tell us about those 6 simple steps.
First one is getting attention all over the country, and that's stretching in bed. When you first wake up in the morning, those of us with arthritis are so stiff. It's very difficult to move fingers and wrists and toes and ankles. Well, when you've woken up in the morning, you're relaxed, you're warm, the muscles are relaxed from the skeletal structure. Yes, you may be stiff, but after you move them a few times, they start moving a lot easier. When you stretch your whole body, it feels so good. And stretching is one of the most underappreciated, undervalued areas of physical fitness that you have no idea how much that does for us. And so you're stretching these muscles and tendons. They're warm, they're pliable, you're safe. You don't have to worry about being upright and gravity pulling you down and whatever. Also for driving, you take the pillow away when you first wake up before you start your stretching. And you're lying flat in bed and you just turn your head as far right as you can and come back to center. And you turn your head as far left as you can and come back to center. We carry a lot of stress in our necks. But driving, when you want to back up in a shopping mall, how nice it is to have a nice flexible neck. And as I always say, when some idiot is passing you on the right and you really want that quickness, that flexibility in your neck, again, it's a life-saving, I call it another invisible life preserver. Getting in and out of the car, bending, reaching, just stretching. And when you just stretch, it just feels so good. And it makes a senior especially more aware of their body parts and the capabilities of these body parts. The shoulders are lying flat on the bed, and I call it elbow magic, where we bring our elbows together. You're lying flat, and then you pull the elbows out. You're protecting the rotator cuff. You're strengthening the muscular skeleton around the shoulder area. Your spine is flat, so you feel your posture, and you tend to stand taller. And if you want to look in the mirror and your normal posture, and then you look in the mirror with good posture, you look 10 years younger. Everybody should just try it. They'll be amazed. And then I have them sit up and wait a second. I call it the victory stretch, where you stretch up over your head. I tell them there's $100 bills on the ceiling. Stretch. And then reaching across the room. So when you stand up then, you're alert. Your gross motor system has kicked in. Your fine motor system is kicked in. And you're not as apt to fall on the way to the bathroom. And I think in the middle of the night, if the bladder allows, to give one overall stretch, I think we can prevent some nocturnal falls. I can't prove it. It's going to take some longitudinal studies, but in my heart I know it's true because you aren't just stumbling out of bed to the bathroom. And that is the first step, stretching in bed.
How long should someone stretch?
You'll know what your body is capable of doing and what your own body needs. I'm always saying, listen to your own body. So I don't want to say 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Depends how many times you want to do each one to make you individually feel good.
What's simple step number 2?
Simple step number 2 is balance. And movement is based on balance. And it's so simple. People will come to me and they'll say, I can't balance. My balance is terrible. I have no balance. And after 5-10 minutes, it's like, oh my goodness, this whole new revelation. Wow, I can balance. And it's so simple. It's just feeling your balance. Teresa, would you put your hands on the table and would you just pick up your right knee and hold, 2, 3, and put the foot back down and relax. Good. Okay, now would you pick up your left knee, hold, 2, 3, put the foot down and relax. Teresa, could you feel your balance when you were on each leg?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, this time we're going to play piano very slowly and relaxed and pick up our right knee again. Pick up our right knee first and now just play piano on the table just like you're hitting A, B, C, D. Put the foot down and relax for a little bit and it'll be just like we're hitting the chords. Okay, play piano. Bring your knee up. Good, nice. Put the foot down and relax. Good. Teresa, could you feel your balance as well when you were playing piano as when you weren't?
Yes.
Oh, good. Because see, I wouldn't have you go on until you feel really good with that. Okay, now would you pick up one knee and then take your hands off of the table, put them back onto the table, and relax. Nice going. Okay, can you do that once more? And your choice of legs, whichever one you'd like to this time. Pick up the knee and then take your hands off the table, put them back on the table. Oh, that was excellent, Teresa. That was terrific. And just once more, this time, just see how your balance is. Just check your balance. Good. Pick up a foot. Very nice. Put down and hang loose. That was terrific. And if you do that every day, Teresa, you're strengthening your legs as well as improving your balance. So balance is so important. It can change your gait. The minute you feel that you're having a little trouble with your balance, you walk funny. They'll say, I'm walking funny. And what's happening is, when you're afraid of falling, you will walk with what I call a wider base. Your feet will be farther apart because you feel more stable. But someone who's not afraid of falling will walk with their normal gait. You start changing your gait, it can cause you to fall. So balance is very, very critical, and it can be relearned. That's a generalization due to strokes and peripheral neuropathy and other things. But generally speaking, once they feel their balance, it transforms into an I can do it attitude.
And simple step number 3?
Simple step number 3 is ball handling activities. And that is really being a kid again. And it's very interesting. When I give a senior a ball, they're very apprehensive with the ball at first. And I have them put it in one hand and just roll it to the other hand. And it's amazing how shaky those hands are when they just start rolling the ball from one hand to the other. Then I have them tossing it from one hand to the other. That's eye-hand coordination. They're also becoming aware of the space and the environment around them because the peripheral vision is picking up this movement. And then they get so they can toss it quite far apart. Then you can see the shaking is stopping. Then I have them bounce the ball and catch it. And this is extremely important. This is space depth perception. And that's what helps you to see topographically as things are. That the curb is this high, not that you think it's this high, or the step and so forth. It's the right height for what you think you're seeing. And then I'll have them bounce it with their right hand and catch it. Then I'll have them cross the midline of the brain and go to their left hand and bounce and catch it. And then we get into partners sometimes, bouncing the ball to each other and catching it, hitting a target, putting a triangle on the floor, and having them bounce the ball on the triangle. I have a list a mile long in my book about the benefits of ball handling skills. And I like to start with 2 paper cups and a ball in the cup, and then just transferring the ball from one cup to another. And I'm going to have Wanda demonstrate, if you would, Wanda. If you would keep the cups close together, and then just tip the ball from one cup into the other, and just go back and forth. Good. Then as your eyes get adapted to this exercise, take the cups a little further apart so that you have to pour it in. Good. Now hold it up higher from the cup so it has to fall farther. Good. Okay, keep the cups further. Let me show you here. We're going to bring it up and let it fall in and hope we get it in the cup. And then just here, or if you'd like, you can go from the side over, just so that we've separated the cups and we can still see and get them in the cup. So try it, either way you wish. Don't let the cups touch anymore. You've graduated. All right, you're really graduating further and further apart. All right. Okay, good, Wanda. Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
The next step, Wanda, is gross motor coordination, space depth perception, visual motor coordination, flexibility, and I could go on with a whole list of what this does for us, all pertaining to preventing a fall. So Wanda, I'd like you to take the ball in both hands and then just bounce it and catch it. That's all. Just bounce and catch. Good. Remember when you were a kid doing this as a kid? Right. It's being a kid again, doing what you did again. Okay, Wanda, thank you. And Wanda, this is all stored in your motor memory. So it didn't take you very long to just be bouncing that ball like you did when you were a child. Now we're going to go down in size. And would you take this ball, and would you toss that ball from one hand to the other? Good. Okay, a little bit slower, Wanda, and feel that ball. After it hits your hand, feel it. Then toss it to the other hand. Okay, it's harder when you go slow. That's why I'm having you go slow. Okay, now, like you did with the big ball, would you bounce and catch with both hands? Bounce and catch. Bounce and catch. Nice. Bounce and catch. Stop. Now bounce it with the right hand only and catch. Bounce and catch. Nice. And we'll back. And now would you do it with your left hand? Bounce and catch. Bounce and stop. Now, Wanda, remember when you used to dribble and go down the sidewalk? Now bounce it and just keep the ball bouncing. We call it dribbling. Okay, and stop. Whoa, that's okay. That's good. Because every time you bend over to pick up the ball, you're exercising your waist. And it's also good exercise. Okay? Try it with your left hand just 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and stop. Good. Okay, now we're going down to a smaller ball. As we get better at this, we can go down in size. Okay. Now would you drop and catch with both hands, just like we did with the big ball? And drop and catch, and drop and catch, and stop. Now would you drop it with the right hand and catch and stop. Nice. And left hand, drop, drop, and drop and catch. And Wanda, you notice that you're learning, your gross motor system is telling you how much force you have to put on that ball to be able for it to return and catch. The big ball sort of did it for you. Now you've improved by the different stages. Now you know exactly how much force to put on it. And plus, your space depth perception, if you watch the film slowly, that ball is going down and pretty much right in target with the hand above it. So that's good. Now, the little ball that you were tossing from the cup, and this one really tests all of your systems. Okay, both hands, bounce and catch. All right, nice. Okay, good catch. Okay, would you try to bounce with your right and catch with your left? This is crossing the midline of your brain, Wanda, and you're using both sides of the hemisphere of your brain. Nice catch. Now, you got to do it again and put it in your left hand and catch with your right. Nice going. Okay, thank you, Wanda. Which is your favorite size to be doing it?
Oh, I think the tennis ball.
The tennis ball? Okay, we'll use that for target practice.
Oh.
Now this is one that can be done with the whole family. You put a target on the floor, okay, and you're going to try to hit the center of the target. Now, if you have grandchildren or children, when they come over for a holiday dinner, you can have a lot of fun with this. We'll say your daughter stands in front, the target's in the middle. She has to hit the center of the target and you catch it.
Oh.
And then you hit the center of the target and she catches it. Or it can go to the grandchildren over here and they have to hit it and it could go round robin. So it can become intergenerational and it helps your grandchildren too, Wanda. Believe it or not, all 6 steps, if they're in sports, can help them be a better athlete. So would you try to hit the center of that piece of paper, and you can do it with both hands, or you can do it at one hand, whatever you prefer. All right, dead center. All right, wow, that's great. Try it with your left hand. Are you right-handed or left-handed, Wanda? Right-handed. Let me get the target back in place. Okay. Dead center with your opposite hand, your less dominant hand. That is excellent. So everyone, for any holiday, any birthday, ask your family to buy you a ball. And it can be any size ball. Have fun with it. When you're walking around the house, I'm going to borrow the ball a minute, Wanda. When you're walking around the house, just dribble the ball, get really good at it, toss and clap and catch. And there's a lady in my class who's 98, and she holds the record for my classes. She can toss and she can clap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She can do it 5 times, 5 claps. So you can practice. And then when children come over and grandchildren come over, ask them how many times they can clap. Now, you've been practicing, so you can do it better than they can. And have an awful lot of fun with the ball. It can help you to prevent that fall. And I'd like to read you something from my dissertation. Ball handling constantly repositions your body. It keeps it naturally aware of its surroundings as movements aren't planned and success is based on stabilization. Better balance is the key to graceful movement. And balls require concentration and accurate response, being able to catch that ball. They are a form of non-conversational therapy that allows us to balance without thinking. And when I was doing my research and people were bouncing balls, their walkers and their canes were sitting there. It was amazing. They'd lose their ball, they go across the room to bend over, pick it up, and come back. And I went from a big soccer ball down to a smaller ball, down to a wiffle ball, to a tennis ball, to a ball 2 inches in diameter, to a ball 1 inch in diameter. And that's a lot of stabilization for an individual. Because if I ask seniors to lean forward and reach forward, I'm not going to do that. I'll fall flat on my face. But when the ball is getting away from them, they're chasing after the ball and they're totally out of balance. But the body has been trained as a child, bouncing that ball. And it's stored, as I said before, in motor memory. And that's there. And then the lady whose ball went under the piano, and she came to class in a walker. And she went over to the ball. She goes half under, then down and thinking, oh, please, don't let anything happen to her. And she bends down, picks up the ball, and walks back. So it's there, and we have to learn to play again. We have forgotten how to play. And children, they don't have any apprehensions about play. We have inhibitions that have been instilled by our generations and different cultures. So the ball is an extremely important step.
And now we come to simple step number 4.
Step number 4, walking and talking on the telephone. What a better way to get in your physical activities. You are doing more than one thing at a time. And not only that, when you go for a walk outside, that's one thing. But when you're walking and talking, that's very cardiovascular. And you might find yourself huffing and puffing a little bit because you're not used to walking and talking. Then I'd like you to switch hands if the hearing allows and go to the other ear. I have taken you out of balance and put you back in balance. And when you're walking and talking, I've removed one stabilizer. So you are out of balance and your body's adjusting without you even thinking about balance training. And you are actually in training. You're an athlete in training. Then your friend is still talking. You get tired. You sit down. Switch to the other ear if you haven't already done so. Rest, and then stand up and walk again. Every time you sit down and stand up, you are strengthening your legs. And if you watch seniors in restaurants getting up after they've had a meal, so many struggle. If you watch people getting in and out of a car, they struggle. In and out of the chair or Davenport in the living room, they struggle. So here you're increasing your leg strength. It's good for your heart. It's multitasking, good for your brain. And it's just a wonderful way to introduce exercise into your daily routine.
I understand step number 5 is extremely important. Can you tell us about that?
Every time you sit down to watch television, slump into your chair. When I ask people at my speeches and workshops, how many people practice falling? They look at me like I'm a fruitcake or something because people just don't go around practicing falling. But when you practice anything to do it well, that's how you do it well. So you're practicing falling. You have to fall at the subconscious level to not resist. If I pushed everyone in the audience today, they would resist. A stiff body breaks, a limp body bends. Right now, I'd like to introduce you to Wanda, and Wanda is going to show you how she slumps into the chair instead of just sitting down. This is an invisible life preserver that is being given to you. Please, please practice this. You're going to sit down anyway, so you might as well practice a skill that is going to help you to stay independent. And we all want to stay independent. So Wanda, thank you for demonstrating this for us. And I'd like you to just hang loose. And then with your hands at your sides and just slump into the chair. 10 martinis, Wanda, 10 martinis. Wonderful. Okay. So this time, let the knees go. Let them bend as you slump into the chair. But always make sure you're in the center of the chair before you slump, and the backs of your legs are against the chair. Okay, let's shake those hands and get all loose. 10 martinis, Wanda. Okay, now let the knees go soft and just slump into the chair. Go, go. Oh, much better. Did you feel the difference?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, you're getting...
I'm more relaxed, and I'm just letting everything go.
Exactly, exactly. And if you practice that, that's exactly what's going to happen in the fall. Everything is just going to be loose, and like you said, just let it go. You don't have time, as you can see, to say, I've got to do this, 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 and this. When you go to bed at night, slump into bed. Then, if a fall, an accidental fall should occur, you're not going to resist. Your body's either going to regain its balance because it's being trained, or it will slump automatically. Wanda, would you demonstrate how you slump into your bed? And we'll use the Davenport for today. So we'll come over in front of the Davenport. And if you could put the backs of your legs against, just like you did with the chair. Now you're going to hang loose, really hang loose. Let the knees go soft. And this time you're going to slump down to a seated position and then slump down onto your side as if you were in bed. Okay, Wanda, nice and loose, and slump whenever you're ready, and then slump down. Very nice. Wanda's going to do this exercise again for us, slumping into bed, because I'd like Wanda, when she slumps into the seated position, to just stay there for just a little bit before she lies down, so that you can see it a little clearer as to how the body relaxes and just slumps so simply. So Wanda, would you slump into bed again? Make sure you're in the center. Your legs are against the back, your backs of your legs are against the bed, and just slump into bed now. Just slump to the seated Oh, nice. And then down into the bed. As Wanda practices this exercise, she will notice that her self-confidence increases so much so that in many subtle ways there will be a difference. She won't change her gait, which means the way we walk. She won't be hesitant and take smaller steps because of the confidence of knowing that if she slips, her body will automatically just slump. Especially for those in climates where ice is a problem, or even in the southern climates where we have water and rain and slippery grass. So please slump into your bed, slump into your chair, and help to maintain your independence. Yes, people fall, people have injuries, but it's much better to have a bruise than it is a fracture. We don't know why it works, but everybody, all the doctors that I've talked to said, Betty, we won't know in our lifetime, you won't know in your lifetime, just keep doing it. It's really honing your proprioceptive sense, which is like a spaceship, not knowing where you're upside down or right side up in your surroundings. But it also gives you the courage. I've practiced falling, and you're not going to start tensing the minute you start to feel out of balance, because you're also going to feel that body on its own coming back into balance. A very, very important step.
And now we come to the last step, step number 6.
Step number 6 is dancing with your pillow. And this one is so much fun. We're not only strengthening our legs, and by the way, our legs seem to be the first that give us trouble, or the first that seem to go. So this is a great leg strengthener. It's also cardiovascular, and it greatly improves our balance. Because how many times do you walk backwards? Well, when we're dancing with our pillows, we're not only going forward, but we're also going backward. And we're also going sideways. And how often do you walk sideways? And then after we're dancing for a while, we'll be going in circles, which I found takes us to another time and another place. And balance is so important, and you can work this into your daily living. If you get a little grouchy or something's gone wrong during the day, or you just want to relax and have a wonderful time, go back down memory lane, you can turn on the radio. You don't even need a tape cassette or recorder or DVD or whatever. You can just dance with your pillow to the radio, or if you're a singer, you can sing your favorite song. Ray and Wanda are going to help me demonstrate the 6th step, and we're going to be dancing with our pillow. First, if we're right-handed, we'll be putting our right hand in the air. If we're left-handed, we'll be starting with our left hand in the air. Wanda, are you right-handed?
I'm right-handed.
You're right-handed? And Ray, are you right-handed? Well, Ray and Wanda will both be starting with their right hand in the air. And then as they're dancing, I will be asking them to change hands, which is crossing the midline of the brain and taking them out of balance and then having them go back into balance. After I see that they're comfortable and enjoying it, then I'll have them put both hands on the pillow, and then they'll be moving forward and backward and sideways and in circles. And there's something about the music and dancing with a pillow that takes us to a safe zone and a comfort zone that we seem to go to another place in time. So we will start with our right hand up, our left hand on the pillow, and I think you'll enjoy watching this 6th step. And ready, Wanda and Ray? And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to change hands. Would you put your right hand on the pillow and your left hand up in the air? And here we go again. And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And now would you put both hands on the pillow? And now Ray and Wanda are actually like two people on a tightrope with no arms out to the side. And look at their balance. And I bet that Wanda by now is in another place in another time, probably dancing with her boyfriend from high school. And Ray is probably dancing with his first love. And I'm just having a wonderful time. And I hope you will too. You can work this into your daily living. You can sing if you're a singer and sing the song you like and dance with it. Or you can turn on the radio and find a radio program that has beautiful music to dance to. So I hope you will join Ray and Wanda and myself and dance with your pillow as often as you can. It is a very serious problem. It's really being called now a national public health issue, stopping short of calling it an epidemic, which I feel it will be very soon. And especially with the baby boomers turning 60, we have to take a look at the numbers, and the numbers are already astronomical. The medical ramifications can be very severe, including death. And four very famous people have fallen and died from their injuries. The Atkins doctor died from a fall. Katharine Graham died from a fall. David Brinkley, a newscaster, died from a fall. And George Burns, even though he was 100, he still died from a fall. And you would think it was from fractures because so many people have fractures, but it wasn't. It was traumatic brain injuries. And we don't think about that, yet it's in the billions of dollars for traumatic brain injuries. The fracture is generally a hip fracture, but it can be a wrist or a shoulder depending on the fall. So, and it's not only life-threatening, but it can change a person's life entirely, from a very active, involved life to a very sedentary, and of course, if it's a brain injury, you never know how the long-term prognosis would be for that. It can impact the family. First of all, the senior who has fallen can become very, very depressed. And depression is a very, very difficult thing to overcome. That affects a whole family in and by itself. But there's so many other ramifications. Grandma or grandpa fall. Mom or dad has to take time off from work to go to the emergency room, starting with the emergency room. And then there's placement afterwards. And MetLife did a study on this. And MetLife came out with a study that said if a baby boomer's parent suffers a fall, they will lose, on average, $659,000 in lifetime earnings from time off from work, money out of their 401ks, but I see it as a bigger problem. It can cause a family to splinter, and I like to think of it as keeping a family intact to prevent that fall, because don't forget, moms are generally working these days. Mom and dad are working. Teenage children or younger children already are doing a lot of the chores. Hopefully they're doing a lot of the chores, but all of a sudden, mom and dad, who are so stressed already, now have their parent or grandparent, whatever the case may be, that they have to take time for. Now the teenagers are feeling a little less cared about, and it's like a domino effect. Grandma, grandpa, mom and dad falls, and mom and dad have to take over, and then the teenagers get involved. It's also causing divorces. We're hearing about divorces because maybe you didn't like your mother-in-law in the first place. Maybe you didn't like your father-in-law in the first place, and now they've come to live with you. And sometimes it's a very difficult situation, especially when they have to be lifted. Then backs can go on a very healthy baby boomer and even a teenager. So its ramifications are monumental and very underexpressed and underexposed until you know someone whose family is going through this catastrophic event.
I am Dr. Pat Bomba. I'm a geriatrician with 30 years of clinical experience. Currently, I serve as the Vice President and Medical Director of Geriatrics for Excellus Blue Cross Blue Shield. I am delighted to speak on behalf of Dr. Betty Perkins Carpenter's 6-step balance system. As you know, falls are a serious public health issue. Most older adults do know someone that has fallen, and they do realize that at least 50% of those individuals end up not being able to return to independent living. They need care, oftentimes in a nursing home. What that does is set up a fear of falling for these individuals, and it's real. And oftentimes it's much more serious than the fall itself. Falls have devastating physical effects, the effects of whether it's a fracture or other problems, but the fear of falling and the psychosocial effects and the financial effects of falling are equally problematic. What Dr. Betty Perkins Carpenter has done is set up her 6-step balance system to be able to help individuals overcome the fear of falling and to be able to have the confidence to move forward and to reduce falls in their lives. Now, most of us think about the fact that there will be injury, and most older adults that I have cared for really fear the loss of independence. But what often people don't think about is that a fall can set off a whole series of events that ultimately results in death. And so it makes falls not only a huge public health issue, but also an issue that really increases mortality for older adults. I really do advocate for this book because it's simple. There are lots of illustrations that makes it easy for the older adult to use the system in their home. It really takes away the need to go out of the home, making it an ideal tool for individuals who are homebound. It's never too late to exercise so that everyone can begin to use the 6-step balance system. And the rewards and the outcomes are incredible. Not only reducing the fear of falling, but actually increasing the muscle mass, increasing the confidence of the older adult that they can do this. They don't need to become an Olympian like Betty, that's not the intent. But the intent is really to improve the quality of life for older adults. And as we look forward to the future and we see the baby boomer generation moving forward, we need to consider this as a serious public health issue because it does have ramifications, not only the physical effects, but the psychosocial effects as well. I would underscore what Betty has talked about in her book, which is overcoming that fear of falling. That is a real problem. And so I would advocate that individuals look at the book. I particularly like the fact that Betty has included footnotes, and I also particularly like her appendix, which is a very simplified fall prevention checklist that everyone can utilize to make sure that they're doing everything in addition to their exercise program to make sure that they minimize the risk of falls. Thank you for the opportunity, and begin your exercise program.
Hi, I'm Dr. Bill Hall. I'm a professor of medicine at the University of Rochester School of Medicine and a practicing geriatrician. I take care of lots of older adults, and one of the most tragic things I see is an older adult who has fallen and goes from a completely functional individual to someone who needs a lot of assistance. Life becomes very compromised at that point. I try to teach my patients how they can take charge of trying to prevent falls. And one of the guides that I think is the best on the market is the guide by Betty Perkins Carpenter, How to Prevent Falls. This little guide is a lot of fun to read. It provides very solid information that anyone can apply immediately to their lives. And it shows you how you can actually begin to plan a program, how you can stick to a program. So take a look at this book. I think it will help you, entertain you, and also make your life a lot safer.
People can find out how they can help to prevent a fall. And of course, my book has all 6 steps. The title of my book is How to Prevent Falls, Better Balance, Independence, and Energy in 6 Simple Steps. It is on my website, and there's a lot more information too on my website, which is www.senior-fitness.com. It can also be ordered through the bookstores of Borders and Barnes and Noble. For the people that, of course, live in Rochester, New York, some stores have it also. but it's just a fun book, and you can share it. The other thing too is if you have children who are athletes or playing sports or grandchildren, this can help them too, because if their balance is better, they're going to do better in whatever sport they're doing. So the book itself, the website, also my number is in there. They can call me, and so it's a wonderful, wonderful way to learn and keep doing the 6 steps and make it intergenerational. It becomes a family thing too. At holidays, they're putting music on and dancing with pillows. So it's, I hope they will follow through and give themselves that invisible life preserver.